Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today the first test session for the aircraft carriers came out, and like a lot of you, I had my doubts. I didn't think they would be as fun as they are, and they managed to surprise me. I thought they would be far more overpowered than they are right now, but wargaming seemed to balance them compared to PC. Um, but that's not to say that they don't have their own downsides, you know? Um, there are things wargaming can fix. Uh, like maybe when there's a CV in the game, add one more ship for more protection against CVs. Cause either add or remove a ship. I suggest add, because when you group up, it's obviously more protection for from a CV. But when you're alone by yourself, it's easy pickings. Like me right here, I'm relatively far from anyone close to me, from the closest person to me, so the CV gets me. But if I had like a cruiser next to me or another battleship, uh, that attack wouldn't have gone as successfully as it did. Uh, I do feel like maybe like battleships and how wargaming limits their range compared to real life. Like Yamato had in reality like what, 26-kilometer range, but in the game it's like 19 kilometers. I haven't played Yamato in a while, so I'm taking educated guesses. It would be a good idea, not a good idea, but it would help balance the carriers even more if, oh, I don't know, you lower wargaming would lower the range, or add a range to the plane, so that, oh, your planes can only go this far before they have to before it's impossible for them to come back and to fuel up, because planes run on fuel just like ships, but they do not carry as much, and they use more. Well, not more, but compared to their small size, more. Uh, Ranging the aircraft carriers would mean they would have to move a lot more, and would make it a lot more strategic for aircraft carriers to do what they need, do what they want to do, other than to stand back and try to hide. I feel like if wargaming would range the air, or put like a forced range onto aircraft carriers, like 18 kilometers, which is for tier 3 pretty big, but I would say for aircraft carriers at tier 3, 15, then at tier 5, 17, and then maybe at tier 7, 19. Even though that's pretty far, but legendary tier could have it as like the full map, you know? So it's like unlimited range with legendary tier for aircraft carriers, like Midway, and I think it's not Hiryu, the White Dragon in Japanese, the Japanese tier 10 aircraft carrier on PC. Those two would have infinite range, where everything else would be limited. I don't know if I'm over explaining it, but I'm trying to, explain it so that everybody can understand. I also feel that the aircraft carrier detectability range is way too low compared to it's about the detectability of a destroyer, which is why you gotta get 7 kilometer. It's less detectability than a cruiser, when it really shouldn't be, because cruisers were a lot smaller than aircraft carriers. Well, in the game, aircraft carriers seem to be the smaller ones compared to the cruisers when you go by range, or not by range, by detectability. I feel like that needs to be buffed. Yes, this is just a test, but I'm just recommending some things because these are what I would feel improve the game for aircraft carriers. And I've noticed that almost everybody, like no matter the skill level, is going for aircraft carriers. I think only aircraft carriers would be for really skilled players. So players that have a I don't know, 1,500 battles in the game can unlock them. I think it should be like a locked thing, or not super locked like a million battles, but something average like the average Joe can get after getting relatively decent at the game. Because I ran into a battle, I think it was this battle, where the CV just couldn't seem to get any damage and was struggling, you know? I feel like it would vastly because the games that have aircraft carriers in them rely on the carrier the entire match to spot or to cause damage or to, you know, just do aircraft carrier things, you know? Yes, I know it's a test and people are eager to get aircraft carriers, but I don't think you should hand them out to everybody. Because it's just going to ruin the fun of the game and people are going to start leaving. I do see, what is the word? English is hard. But I do see possibility. Yeah, possibility. Not possibility. Well, I see aircraft carriers evolving in a better way compared to PC here on console. Because they feel to run a lot more smoother. Yes, I am not the best, but I do feel that right now people are still trying to learn the carrier. It's just it would because carriers are a lot more different than just a pew pew blam blam of cruisers and battleships and the sneaky stealthing torpedoes of destroyers, depending on the destroyer. It would just make sense to kind of limit who plays them, or not limit, but lock off who plays them compared to their playstyle. So it's like, if you are not at all like a stealthy player, or you are a walls full gear, full throttle, everything at this one thing, sacrificing everything to just get at least one hit type player, I don't feel you should play aircraft carriers, because carriers have limited resources and a long reload, and they are very what is, oh jeez, sorry, it's sorry, they require effective use of the terrain around them to make good warships. Yes, it has been marketed as a completely different way to play the game. That's good. But it makes the battleships more vulnerable than they really have been throughout the game. And battleships were the tanks of the early 20th century. They were absolute beasts. They had great anti-aircraft. They had almost great everything other than torpedo protection, but everyone kind of gets that by now. So I feel a consumable like what they have on PC, I forget what it's called, I haven't played PC in forever, but it boosts your effectiveness of anti-aircraft guns. And while the aircraft carrier guns are really good right now, they're not that good. Like, as you can see with the enemy. I think that's the Nuremberg, Koenigsberg, whatever. It's a German cruiser. Heavy anti-aircraft firepower. It's just not focused. If it was focused, or if it was a little more focused, I feel like aircraft carriers would fit in almost perfectly. Because we need more. We need a way to defend ourselves, and that's what anti-aircraft is. It's to defend ourselves. But when you barely shoot down half a squadron with the anti-aircraft firepower we have right now, it's not that fun. Yes, some ships do better against the aircraft, but that depends on the nation, and I feel like Russia and Britain are the best right now. I haven't played any American yet, but the French didn't do so strong, and the Japanese, I think, I didn't really do that good in my Congo. So that's something to be weary about. When playing aircraft carriers, I think it'll depend entirely on the nationality of your ship that chooses whether you excel in the battle or you absolutely lose. And it goes the same way for carriers themselves. The Japanese have more the Americans have faster planes, while the Japanese have tougher planes. I think that's how it goes. But I did notice though that while playing I think it's the Ryujo, the Hosho, that the Japanese torpedoes are not the regular Japanese torpedoes you do get. I feel like they should be at least the regular tier 3 torpedoes that you get on the Japanese tier 3 destroyer. That would make them a bit more of a threat. Because right now they're not much of a threat. It's just the fact that you will take damage, and torpedoes are torpedoes no matter what you say. So there has been a huge fear of CVs ruining the game, and I feel like they do in fact have the potential to do that, and that the fear isn't coming from nowhere. It just depends on what wargaming does and the upcoming updates involving the carriers that will either make or break the game. So wargaming, it's up to you, buddy. It's up to you, but it's also up to the player base. You viewers at home, whether you know how to dodge or focus, or that's another thing too. We need to focus on attacks too. I feel if they, because I think the max they said they would add in is 2 carriers per battle. So if both of those CVs are going against each other, or not going against each other, teaming up against you and focusing just you alone, I do feel like that would be the end of anybody, no matter what. Especially if it's torpedo bombers, because 2 torpedoes coming from different directions, two sets of torpedoes coming from completely different directions, never a good look. So that's a problem. You need to focus one while not having to worry about the other one. The one that you will focus on should get dispersed or have terrible torpedoes, so that one goes one way and the one goes a completely different direction. That would help. That would make the game a bit more ooh, what's gonna happen next, a bit more engaging. Like, oh, if this happens, I'm gonna have to plan for this, just in case this small percentage of this happening, the small chance of this happening does happen. That would help so much. Like, that would make the game a lot more funner, you know. But with that out of the way, thank you for watching. That's all I really gotta say. Thank don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on notifications, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.